Good morning. I think it's like 50 something degrees right now. This is beautiful. I've been looking forward to this. Finally, a little coolness in the air. I think summer is officially over. Some people may be sad about that, but me running outside all the time, definitely not sad about that. Also, I saw the Berlin Marathon over the weekend was unseasonably hot, very much like New York City, where I ran that in 2022. So anybody who ran the Berlin Marathon, my sympathies are with you for that bad weather that you had. Today I'm going to talk about some shoes from a brand that I think is the #1 contender for brand of the year. For me, it's between Asics and Puma with the shoes they've been putting out this year. But what I'm running in today is the Asics Blast series. So these shoes started with the Novablast, and this is actually the 5th version that I'm wearing. So I can't believe that there's been 5 versions of the Novablast. I actually had the original one, but then didn't have the other ones. I kind of tried some other brands for a while and came back for the Novablast 5. So today I'm going to run in the Novablast 5, the Superblast 2, and then the new Sonicblast and Megablast. So Asics has expanded their Blast lineup. We're going to have a Blast today. 4 different shoes, and they all really fit into a rotation where if you just wanted to run in Asics Blast shoes, that's something you could do with the variety that we have here. So we're starting with the Novablast 5, which is a very good daily shoe. This is using also with Asics their Flight Foam. There's so many versions, sometimes it's hard to keep straight. This is the Flight Foam Blast Max foam in this shoe, and what I'm getting from this foam is it has that dense kind of feeling that I like in a foam, but this one has a little bit more travel. It's soft and bouncy, but not incredibly compressive. Not the bounciest shoe. It's not stiff at all. It's a very neutral shoe. So you get good comfort from this. There's plenty of room in the upper, and it just padding around the heel collar. It's just like a really inviting, basic, but good daily shoe. So I just thought I'm gonna do one word to describe each of these shoes in this line. For me, the Novablast 5, that one word is balanced. And what I mean by that is it just does everything a little bit, nothing too much, but just with a lot of balance. So it's a comfortable upper, but it's not too plush that it's making the shoe really heavy. The midsole foam feels a little bit soft and bouncy, so you're getting some compression, you're getting some energy return, but it's not over the top energy return. It's not too soft, so it's also not an unstable shoe. The foam kind of reminds me of Adidas Light Strike Pro, but the first version, where it has a little bit of that bounce back, but not incredibly deep energy return. But this shoe is just a pleasant shoe to run easy paces in. It has enough energy return that you can kind of turn it up a little bit, but it's not a stiff shoe. It doesn't have a plate to push off of. So to me, this is not like a tempo or an interval shoe, but if you just want to do daily runs where you put a little bit of pace in it, this shoe is absolutely perfect for that. So this next shoe is a really interesting one from Asics. This is the Superblast 2. When Asics came out with the first Superblast, that shoe was like a revelation to a lot of people, because it's like, how can we have a max stack shoe that's actually this light and this fast? And that's kind of the MO of the Superblast series with both the 1 and the 2. They're great shoes for long runs, especially if you're doing marathon training and you want some marathon pace long runs. You want to put a little bit of speed into it. So it has enough foam to give you that protection for those longer efforts, but it's light enough and fast enough that you can actually do some real work in them. So it's a really kind of unique shoe in that respect. But I immediately feel the difference in firmness getting into this shoe over the Novablast 5. That one had the Blast Max foam. This one has Flight Foam Turbo Plus, and then it's got Blast Plus, a bottom layer. So there's a small layer of the Blast Plus, and then the majority of the shoe is the Turbo Plus, which is Asics' previous generation racing foam that's in the Metaspeed Edge and Sky Paris, not the Tokyo. The Tokyo has a combination of that foam plus the new Flight Foam Leap. So many Flight Foams, Asics. I believe I have somewhere around like 150 miles in this shoe. I'll check when I get back. So Superblast 2, very different shoe than Novablast 5. And I'm thinking of it almost like designing a video game character. Like on the screen, if you have sliders for each attribute, I would say with this shoe, stack height, they moved it up, but somehow weight, they moved it down because of the lighter foam. Stability has also been increased. Firmness has been increased. So those two kind of go together. This has a little bit wider platform, a little bit firmer foam, so it feels very direct and stable. And the fact that it's lighter and the geometry of it, I immediately found myself turning over my stride faster. I had a faster cadence in this shoe with the same amount of effort. I'm doing a mile in each shoe. I'm not really trying to push here. I'm doing a easy run today. I did a really tough 10K 2 days ago that was very hilly, so legs are feeling a little sore today, but I have miles in all these shoes, so I just am wearing them back to back now just to compare the feel of them. But I think that mile I did about 17 seconds faster than the Novablast 5, which makes sense. Just from the minute I started running in these, I could feel they're more speed oriented. Just obviously the Novablast 5 being softer, sinking into that, you get that comfort and that little bit of a squishy bounce, but that also slows me down a little bit. It has I'm spending more time on the ground. Like, my ground contact time is higher in that shoe, so it's making me a little bit slower. So now moving on to the brand new shoes in the Blast series. Right now I'm wearing the Sonicblast, which came out very recently. I have a couple runs in these so far, and these are actually the only ones in this group that I haven't made up my mind on yet. I'm not sure if I like these or not yet. And the reason why I say that is such a different feeling than all the other shoes in the lineup. These ones have Asics new foam that they put in the Megablast as well, the Flight Foam Turbo Squared, which is an aliphatic TPU foam, which is like my favorite type of foam. It has a really nice combination of squishiness, energy return without being too soft, and it's also a light foam. It has more of that denser feel that I like from like a Light Strike Pro as opposed to a Piba foam. But in this shoe, this foam feels completely different than in the Megablast, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is this has a plastic plate in there below the top layer of foam, so that immediately makes the shoe much firmer. It gives the foam less room to travel in the shoe as well. And this also has a bottom layer of the Blast Max foam, which is a different density foam, so it just feels completely different to any other shoe in this lineup. It's much stiffer, so it really skews more towards speed. Like, this is really more of a speedy trainer, a tempo shoe. It seems to me more like they're trying to be an endorphin speed. That's what they're going for with this shoe. But it's also $180, which I think is kind of a lot for a tempo specific shoe. It has a plate, but it's not a carbon plate. And it's just the shoe that I think has kind of the most limited use case of any of the ones in this lineup for me. So we'll see how it feels for me today. But to me, the verdict's still kind of out on this one. I need to use it for some more speedy workouts and see if it really shines under those circumstances. But overall, this shoe immediately feels firmer, less bouncy, less stable. It's more narrow in the midfoot and heel. It feels a little bit more like the Metaspeed line than the other shoes in the Blast line. It has a little bit less width to it, a little bit less stability, more firmness. But let's see how this the combination of plate and foam feels today. Well, the Sonicblast remains a bit of an enigma to me. I still can't completely figure out what I should do with this shoe. And kind of what I mean by that is this running in this right after the Superblast 2 was interesting, because I feel like this shoe does actually have more energy return than the Superblast 2. That turbo squared foam in the top layer giving me more bounce, and the plate in there giving me the stiffness, propelling me forward. I think that actually was the fastest mile. I think I ran faster that mile than I did in the Superblast 2, and I wasn't really trying to run hard, so the shoe was doing a really good job of giving me energy return and propulsiveness. But it feels a lot firmer, a lot stiffer. The Superblast I feel like is stiff enough without the plate, just having the turbo plus foam in it. So these to me feeling very stiff. I don't think I would want to take these for a long run. I feel like they would get uncomfortable over a longer effort. And then if they're really intended to be a true speed shoe, why are they so heavy? The shoe itself is, I'll look up the actual weight, but I believe they're heavier than the Superblast, even with the lower stack. So it's just kind of a strange shoe, and I still haven't made up my mind about it. I want to do like some intervals in it and see how they feel for that type of workout, but just for like daily runs, I would not pick this shoe. I would go Novablast 5 or Superblast over the Sonicblast. So to me, this is the only one in this group that I'm not sure if it's worth the price that they're asking for it. So moving on to the Megablast next. So last shoe today is the Megablast, and this is an interesting shoe. No plate, no dual foams this time. This just has Asics new foam, the Flight Foam Turbo Squared, a full midsole of that with a lightweight, thin, breathable upper. They're racing laces on it, so it kind of has like a racing upper and racing laces with a big stack of that new bouncy foam. So this actually manages to be the lightest shoe of this whole group, even though it's one of the largest as well. Well, for me, there's no denying the effectiveness of Flight Foam Turbo Squared in the Megablast. I did about 2.5 miles in the Megablast there at the end, and mile 4 I believe was my fastest one so far, and it felt like my easiest one so far. So big difference between the Sonicblast and the Megablast. Sonicblast has that plate, it feels direct, it feels firm, but it felt like I was working to get that speed. Like I had to balance my my ankles, and it felt like it was stressing my lower legs. Like the stiffness in that shoe made it feel more rough to go that speed. Whereas these ones, that 4th mile, I just felt like I was jogging. I felt like I was barely trying, and I was just gliding across the ground. With this shoe being so light and having so much energy return, it just takes a lot less effort to move fast in it. So I think that's really the big advantage of the Megablast. This foam is so bouncy and the shoe is so light relative to the amount of bounce that you get, that it just really makes running faster easier. So let's take a look at the specs on these 4 shoes. All of them are in a US size 12 for me, and the weights are all pretty close, but there's some difference there. The Novablast 5 comes in at 10.57 ounces or 299 grams, so under 300 grams. That one's 41.5 in the heel, 33.5 in the forefoot. All of these shoes have an 8mm drop, but the heel is a little bit different between them. The Superblast 2 weighs a little bit less, even though it has a little bit more stack to it. That one's 45 in the heel, 37 in the forefoot. Weighs 293 grams or 10.36 ounces. So it manages to weigh a little bit less than Novablast 5, even though it has 4 more millimeters of stack in the heel. Then the Sonicblast is actually the tallest of this group, which was surprising to me seeing those specs. It's 1 millimeter higher than the Superblast and the Megablast at 46 with 38 in the heel. So that one is also an 8mm drop, but it's the heaviest of all the shoes. That's the only one that comes in over 300 grams at 305.32 grams or 10.77 ounces. So it's closer to 11 ounces than it is to 10. For me, in a men's size 12, anything under 12 is starting, or anything under 10 is starting to be a light shoe. So they're on the verge of being light there. The Superblast, why that's impressive, being 10.36 ounces, close to 10, but with 45 millimeters of stack in the heel. So a very big shoe still being close to 10 ounces. And then the Megablast is the lightest of all of them, has the same dimensions as the Superblast 2, 45 and 37, but that one's actually the only one to come in under 10 ounces in my size, 9.66 ounces or 273.86 grams. If we compare the Novablast 5 and the Sonicblast, we'll see they look very similar from the bottom. They all have a kind of similar tread pattern on them. Here you can see the plate poking through there. You also see it poking through on the side, on both sides. This has a little bit more stack than the regular Novablast does, but such a big difference in feel of the foams. This is a foam that you can really kind of press in on and compress. It doesn't have the plate in there, so the shoe itself is much more flexible. I have about 70 miles on this shoe right now as well. This one, it's interesting because it says Flight Foam Turbo Squared, but just the touch test of this foam feels incredibly soft. I mean, incredibly firm, as opposed to on the Megablast here, I can push in on this foam much more. This is much easier to compress. This one has the plate in there and then also the Blast Max on the bottom, but the Turbo Plus on the top layer feels way firmer. It feels almost like a completely different formulation than this foam, even though they're supposed to be the same thing. Feels very different in this shoe. Sometimes with plated shoes also, the plate really isn't that present. It's there to stabilize the foam, but you don't notice as much in the shoe. This is one of the shoes where you really feel the plate in there. It makes the foam feel much firmer, and there's a lot of snapback from this plate. But it just takes, as I was saying, kind of more effort to dig into this. I feel like you got to put your weight into it and push off, and it'll give you that energy return back. But it's just less of a pleasant experience to me. I feel like with the Superblast 2, this one achieves the same speed, but just in a airier type of way. get some of the dirt off of here. This foam, to me, it's not as, it actually feels softer. In the past, I would have said Turbo Plus is a firm foam. It actually feels softer than the foam in this shoe, but that may be the plate, you know, making it feel firmer. But this one also has really good snapback. The firmness of the foam gives you the stability that you need in this high of a stack height without the plate. So I think the shoe just feels a lot more natural to run in. I could turn up my cadence in this easier. It feels more comfortable. It feels more smooth. I like the transitions of this one better, where I feel like no matter how you run in it, it just kind of adapts to your stride and feels more natural. Whereas this one wants you to run it a certain type of way. It wants you to have a high cadence, be picking up your speed, landing more towards the front of the shoe, and trying to utilize that plate. Where I feel like the Superblast is much more of a natural feeling. And the Megablast is definitely my favorite of this group. It feels significantly lighter than all the other ones, even though it's not that much lighter. But again, having a shoe this tall, under 10 ounces in a size 12, this is a lot of shoe. It's a lot of stack. And for it to be under 10 ounces is very impressive, especially with this paper-thin, see-through upper, and the fact that they were able to put in a decent amount of padding in the heel counter here. That's one thing also that I don't really like about the Sonicblast. This has very little padding in the heel there. It just kind of comes up a little bit right here. And I feel like the shoe's a little bit long. So having the plate in there being stiff, the shoe feeling long, it doesn't have as good of a heel lockdown to me. I feel like I have a little bit of slippage in this shoe. I haven't gotten blisters from it yet, but it just feels like not as good of a fit as the other shoes to me. I believe Asics is advertising this shoe has 32% more energy return than the prior Flight Foam Turbo, but I can't remember if it's the Turbo or the Turbo Plus that they're basing that on, because who knows with all the Flight Foams that they have. But this one also has a lot of bounce back from that foam. There's a ton of energy return in this shoe. Now the prices of these shoes, $150 for the Novablast 5, which I think is a really fair price for a daily trainer. It's a comfortable shoe, it's an accessible shoe. I think this is going to work well for a whole lot of people. Then we go to the Superblast here. This one's $200. This one is $225, and then this one is $180. So it has that better foam in the top layer, which I like, but it just doesn't feel the same as the foam in this shoe. So I'm hoping as I put some more runs in these, maybe this will loosen up a little bit. The plate will become a little bit more flexible. It won't feel as extreme to me. But again, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the fact that this is the heaviest shoe and it's designed to be the tempo shoe in this line doesn't really make sense to me. I've also proven that I can run just as fast in the Superblast 2 and the Megablast as in the Sonicblast over there. So to me, as you can kind of tell from this video, that's the one I would leave out of this rotation. If I was looking to build an Asics rotation from this Blast line, these are the three shoes that I would pick. I would use the Novablast 5 as my daily trainer. This is my long run shoe, and maybe as the tempo shoe. I feel like both of these can kind of do daily miles, tempo miles, and long runs. But if you like a firmer feeling shoe, I think this has the advantage. If you like that softer feeling and more energy return, you're going to benefit from the Megablast. So in this lineup, I think 3 of the 4 shoes are really excellent. This is the only one that still has a question mark to me. I want to put some more runs in these, see if they loosen up at all, if they get more comfortable. But again, I can feel the weight just holding this. It shouldn't be this heavy. If they're trying to make this be a tempo shoe, it's $180. It's got a plate in it. It's got their new foam in it. It just doesn't have the punch that I'm looking for at this price. So let me know in the comments if you've run in any of the Asics shoes that I've described in this video today, if you have a favorite of these options here. Also, feel free to put in the comments if you had an experience different to me in any of these shoes. Everyone's opinions on shoes are different. People often have a different experience running in them. So if someone says, you know, I'm a smaller runner and this is how it worked for me, or I'm a larger runner and this is how it worked for me, everybody can kind of benefit from those comments to learn more about the shoe and whether they think it's going to work well for them. So please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.